Welcome to yet another episode of Rise Within. Today, we're going to talk about a subject that most of the people are very hesitant to talk about, but we approach this subject with a lot of compassion and empathy, and also understanding it is extremely important. Today's episode is dedicated to one of our favorite members of the Rise Within family. That is Sasha, my Labrador, who passed away on the 8th of October. She has been nothing short of the most loving part of our family, our extended family and friends. I just hope and pray that wherever she is, she's happy, healthy, and giving us love like she always has. Welcome to Rise Within, Tanveer.
Yeah, welcome everyone. Yes, Abby, and that's why I think Sasha has been an inspiration for us to talk about this topic today when we talk about death. What is death and what happens after death? And there's so many questions that people have, right? And majorly people fear death also because they don't know what it is after it. And there's so many religious beliefs and
Yeah.
spiritual and people saying stuff, whatever it is. Or there are people who are saying this is the end, right? So is it really an end? Is it a part of the journey? Is
Yeah.
it the beginning of something new? What is it? And so we are going to touch upon this topic, yes, with a lot of compassion and understanding. Having studied the different understandings of different religious backgrounds, but there is some commonality in all of it. All right. And even when we speak about spirituality, so the way we will discuss this is taking, there could be different variations of the same story, but the journey will be somewhere, that's what it would be. All right. And we'll just take it as a journey. So the first thing is important to understand is that death is not the end. All right.
Yes.
It is a transition, it is a journey, a soul's journey. So when at the time of a person's death, all right, mostly their loved ones, whoever have passed away, come to support, to help, because it's a transition, right? So that's how it is. And you would ask, loved ones come who've passed away?
Yeah.
Yes, they're always there. They're always there for us. They're always there with us, even if they've passed away. So we may not be able to see them physically, but they're there. So yes, they do come to help our soul to transition from the physical to the spirit form as such. So that is the first thing. It's very comforting to know that you have your loved ones come to see you and take you, kind of thing, right? The second part is that you have this whole the transition sometimes may be sudden, right? So it could be
Yeah.
an accident, or it could be a sudden death, or something like that, a fall, or whatever it could be. At that point of time, the soul may be a little in a shock, not prepared. So that's when your loved ones help you and bring in that love and unconditional love. And sometimes when the people are sick, all right, so there's a lot of pain in the body. So
Yeah.
when the soul leaves the body, it feels very light. It's like pain free. It feels so much of love and so much of lightness is there because all the heaviness is in the body. As a soul, it's very, very light. So it's an amazing experience for the soul to move and pass on as such, right? And now, what happens after that? Okay, it's left the body, but then what, right? So the next step would be like it takes about 3 days. The soul is taken to a certain place, whatever. It's not a place like a physical place, but it's taken in a certain space where it actually sees its entire life. Yeah, in 3 days. Yeah, even if you've lived
Yeah.
100 years, because there's no time and space at that level. The
Yeah.
time and space is a physical limitation of our body and the physical limitation. The moment you're out of the physical, there's no limitation. So they see like probably what their plan was when they came into this earth, and then they see how it has panned out. All right. And then depending upon each soul has its journey, and then they're taken to light. All right. And the support of the angels and of the loved ones is always there all this while, right? Sometimes it may take up to 40 days. And if you see, like a lot of religious practices have praying for 3 days, after 3 days you do this, or after 10 days you do this, or after 40 days, they have this, it's there in every religion as such, right? So there is
Absolutely.
a
So they
spiritual
say
aspect
that
to
this
it.
is for their smooth transition, right?
Yes,
So the
yes,
family gathers around. From the
yeah.
perspective of the family, it is the
Hmm.
emotion should, of course, they should grieve. If they don't grieve,
Yes,
it is not natural. They
yeah,
should grieve. But at the same time, that passing on, them looking at down that the family is together and
yeah,
praying for the safe passage
yeah.
gives them the comfort to move on. And
Yes,
those
yes.
three
Also
days are
then when
extremely
we talk
important.
about grief, Yes, when we talk about grief, is yes, you feel the grief and emotion, but you know how it is like it's when it's get overly done, like when it gets like you're really holding on to it with grief, no, and all of and when you're suffering because of the grief,
yeah,
that hurts the soul too, and it gets difficult for the soul to transit
yeah,
and move on,
yeah,
because they are your loved ones, they love you, and they do
right,
not want to see you suffer. You grieve but not suffer. And that is a difference that is very important. You grieve, but
right,
at the same time you pray for them. You understand that okay, it's their journey. We will always miss our loved ones. We'll
of
always
course,
miss the physical touch, the physical presence, having to speak to them. That will be there. But the moment you know that they're always there, it
yeah,
just gives you a little bit of, some kind of a, but that's a reality. That's a fact. There is tons of research, there are tons of near-death experiences, there are tons of people who are channeling and who explain these journeys. But at the same time, somewhere every religion has this in their books somewhere, right? At some
right,
some version of it is there for sure, right?
right,
So once they move on after the 40 days, are we saying that they are gone? No, they're not gone.
they're not,
They just integrate into the light
yeah,
and then again be themselves, right? And when they integrate with the light, then they're omnipresent. All right, they're multidimensional beings, as we as a
right,
soul are multidimensional beings. So they can be present with us and they can be anywhere else. And when they transition into light, that's when probably they start planning in terms of what is their next journey,
yeah,
right? So do they come back to Earth? Do they go to another planet, another universe, or do they stay in that and still keep serving the universe, whatever their role they would like to play? So that's what happens when they transition into the light. And they can still be, so once they transition, they can be with us. Probably they're already living another life, but they can still be with us. All right. So
absolutely.
remember those times when, suddenly someone looks like the person you passed, or
Yeah,
something that a
some
loved one had said
behaviors
and it
remind
remembers.
you of the person
So
who,
that's your
yeah,
loved one actually connecting with you. So
right,
when you understand these languages and understand, okay, they are there, and just knowing that they're always there with us and they're supporting us in their way. And we can somewhere probably just sometimes you talk, you just sit with yourself, close your eyes, pray, whatever, and you can talk to them. And the awarenesses that you get will be their messages and their responses.
right,
So it's a wonderful way of communicating. So they can communicate with you. They help you. There are times when, you will just be safe from falling, or, you'll suddenly take a ride or something like that when you're driving and you're just safe from an accident. Some of these kind of things happen. They are your loved ones who are there helping you, keeping you safe, and guiding you in their way as such.
and in fact, the
So
guidance becomes stronger than we. This is of course from experience of losing my father not very long back. That the
yeah,
guidance becomes stronger
yeah,
wherein they're since they are not in this dimension anymore, I think
yeah,
they have a more holistic view of what's happening from different perspectives, right?
true,
Here
true,
we are
true.
only able to see what we are doing and how the other person is reacting, right?
Yes.
But we're not able to
Hmm.
see what that person is reacting to, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
of it is surreal, but we get guided in a way where they are seeing everything and the highest and the best is happening for us, and we don't even
true.
realize it, that
Yeah,
the guidance is coming from them now in a
yeah,
more spiritual way, which
yeah,
works out the best for not only us, family,
true,
all their loved ones, in
true.
fact,
Very
because
true.
they're seeing
Very
it
true.
from a different perspective now.
Yes, because the past, present, future at that level is all the same. Like they can see and they know everything. They are omnipresent, right? And they can see and this, so they would know other things which you would not know.
Yeah,
What's coming for and what is not, and they can guide you much better way. The more we acknowledge these signs,
yeah,
the more easier it is for us to receive the guidance, because the guidance is always there. It's just that are
right,
we receiving it? But the moment we understand that death is not the end, death doesn't mean loss.
right,
You're not losing anyone. They are there, and once you acknowledge that, it is easier for them also, because they also want to support
yeah,
and guide you and love you and all of that, right? Just it's not in the physical form. So when you acknowledge and you understand that, it's easier for them to help us. The more we receive, the more they can help. And it's a soul's journey for it's their
right,
journey also to help us. So as they guide us, they also evolve and grow as such. So it's very important to understand that. And grieving is an important part of a loss as death also, but also understanding that not being attached to the past. I'll give you an
right,
example of a friend of mine who lost her mother during COVID and all of that and stuff like that, right? And this is what the example I used to give her, because she was so attached, she was so close to her mother, and like she's like there was no ways. It was very difficult for her, right? So this is the example I give. And when we attach ourselves to the people who passed on, all right, we are making their journey difficult. All
very,
right. So I give this
yeah,
example like say, there's a small child and there's a mother. All right. So the mother has kept the child in the living room. The child is playing. The child is playing. The mother can go do her kitchen work, go homework, whatever is required to do. All right. The mother is there. All right. It's
Absolutely.
just that the child
Yeah.
is not seen. All
Yeah.
right. Now imagine when say the child clings on to the mother. Don't go, don't go, don't go. Is crying and
Yeah.
crying and is clinging on and clinging on, is not allowing the mother to move. Now what happens? It's very difficult for the mother to get her work done
Yes.
or go around and do all of that, right? So if we attach ourselves to the loved ones who passed away in such a way that we don't allow them to move, we're just making their life, we obviously making our lives difficult. But if you really love someone, you have to let them go, knowing that they're there. That is the journey. Most of us, like when I lost my father, I was very young. I had no clue what that was. For me, it
Yeah.
was the biggest loss, whatever that is. And my whole journey was, my life turned around 180 degrees after that, right? But my clinging on to my father, like, everything. And I, through whole my healing journey till date, sometimes these, thankfully now it's not so much, but these things come, how much energetically we hold on to these
Right.
things and make our lives difficult. Not only our lives, but of course, the journey of our past ones also difficult. When you let go that, they
Yeah.
also, because their journey is to evolve, they have to move on. So
In
know that
fact,
they are there.
Tanvir, just on that note, on that passing
Hmm.
on, right?
Hmm.
While we were researching on this subject for the of death, it
Hmm.
was such a surprise to me to learn that in the olden days, when our ancestors used to go through this phase where they were bedridden, and at
Yeah.
that time we had shamans, right? We had
Yeah.
like for we had imams, we had pandits, we had shamans
Hmm.
in different
Hmm.
religions, right?
Yeah, the
So
healers,
they
yeah, whatever.
they would actually lay them down and they would pray, right?
Hmm.
That pray was for safe passage,
Yeah.
and that has been done in from many years back. Even in
True.
Vedas there are mantras where the
Yeah.
person is being asked to detach from the physical body to move on to the spiritual plane, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
the ancestors are invoked to
Yeah.
come and take them and
Yeah.
move them on to the next. Another
True.
very
True.
interesting thing that I read about the passing over in some of the
Hmm.
cultures
Hmm.
that we have, there is a period of time every single year, okay, which is practiced in different parts of the world. It is absolutely surreal to even think about it, that the same ritual is
Hmm.
practiced in different parts of the world in different ways, but
Hmm.
at similar periods of time where they
Hmm.
act where they pray to the ancestors
Like the
and they
Halloween
thank
one that
them
you're
for the
talking about.
guidance, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
they actually name them according to the ancestry and thank
Yeah.
them for whatever they've done, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is the time, and then they show them the light to go back to where they are, but
Yeah.
be omnipresent and keep blessing the family from there on.
Yes.
So
Very
these
true.
are beautiful things to celebrate, right?
Yeah. In fact, when you talk about celebration, this is what I would like to say, and this is the way I would like, to be celebrated after my death. Death is a graduation, from one stage to another stage that you pass. Like how in school you have graduated from school and now you're going to the
Right.
university, or you're graduated from university and now you moved on, like, right, to a different phase of life. Death is also a graduation from the physical state to the spirit state and to move on in the future journey. So yeah, I would like for me, there is one town in Africa somewhere, like I've seen these videos, like where they, at the time of death and the procession of taking the
Yeah, they play
body, they
music and
dance.
stuff. Yeah.
They dance. I said, this is the way I
We
would
have
like
it
to
in
be
India as well.
celebrated. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That they have graduated, it's a
Yeah.
celebration. Yes, we miss, like how when we go from school to college, of course we'll miss our friends, we may not be in touch with them or any of that,
Yeah.
but still it is a milestone in our journey in life, in the physical life. Similarly, death is a milestone for a soul's journey. Another important thing I would just like to point out, because well, looks like probably this will help people, whoever is there, is like when we are so clinging on to, and like if we are grieving, it's amazing. But if we are attaching and suffering and all that we do and think and behave and be after the death of the person, of our loved ones, that affects our loved ones. And sometimes what happens is it gets difficult for the loved one to integrate to the life, because especially the first 40 days, right? That's the most intense, 30, 40 days. And there may be times where they may not be able to pass on.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the reason, as you said, right? We have to pray as much as possible for their soul so that it is easier for them. And obviously, God keeps giving them opportunities later also to integrate. It's not that 40 days over, now they are lost. But at the same time, know that the more we hold on, the more they are not able to go and the more they suffer. And then they're in between, they're not going to life, they're not with us. And then those are the spirits that sometimes, you see that are around, and which is not healthy as such. So it's important for each of us to know that. I can understand you may not want to celebrate that. Okay. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
understand that not everyone is at that level. And it's very much important to grieve also. There's no doubt about it. But it's also
Absolutely.
important to let them go. Let them go.
So, there are famous five stages, as we would call
Hmm.
it, when
Hmm.
the family loses their loved one, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
The first stage is denial, where they
Yeah.
don't want to accept that this has happened, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Then comes anger, where they're angry that how could they leave us and go at this point of time when we needed them the most.
Or they're angry at God that how come
Yeah,
you do this
how
to
could you
us?
take the person away from us, right? Then you bargain that I wish, we had more time. I wish, I could have told him this or told her this, or I wish I could have done this with that. You bargain,
Hmm.
right? You're having this
Hmm. Hmm.
conversation, continuous conversation.
Hmm.
Then comes depression, where you finally, you're like,
It
nothing can
sinks
be
in.
done, right?
Hmm.
And then you go on to a tangent where you're in a negative territory,
Hmm.
which really hurts the person who's passing over, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
then finally, comes a point of time where you look around and you see that there's nothing that can be done. It's done.
Hmm.
The person has
Yeah.
moved on
Acceptance.
and
True.
you accept,
Yeah.
right? That is
Hmm.
the part which is healing,
Yeah.
both for the person who is facing it and the person who's passed over,
Yeah.
where they feel that now they've come to terms with
Yeah.
the fact that I'm not going to be around, and they're
Hmm.
self-sufficient enough to
Hmm.
take care of things and everything will fall in place.
Yeah.
So that
And
is
not everyone goes through all the five phases. There are some people who are still stuck in denial mode
stuck.
for a very
Yeah.
lifetime, or there are some people who are just there are people who would be stuck at different stages, and there will be people who would have come into acceptance, right? So the whole
So
idea
what should
about
they
this
do, Tanvi? What should the people who are stuck in that phase of not letting go, what do you think is the best way to deal with it?
awareness is the first thing, and that was the whole objective of doing this podcast, to make people aware of what death is and understand about, that you're not losing anyone. It's not a loss, it is not an end, and it is a journey. They are still there. Once you acknowledge that, that awareness comes in, the acceptance is easier. And then when you start seeing the signs, and that's what I was getting into, the signs, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can speak to them in their prayers, speak to them, and you just, say a few things before you go to sleep, and you will probably get answers in your dreams. There are different ways where they can communicate. Acknowledge that when something suddenly good has happened, or just been saved or something like that, which is like synchronicity, as we say, right? But that is our loved ones somewhere helping us. So the more you acknowledge it, the more you will receive from them, the more it will be easier for you to accept the fact that they are gone, but they're still there.
Tanvir, I really want to touch upon a very, very sensitive part uh,
Yeah.
of death, in fact, situation of death. I think which is
Yeah.
extremely important to address also, uh,
Hmm.
is taking their own life, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I think there is a different perspective to that
Hmm.
when a
Hmm.
person takes the decision
Hmm.
to they might be in a different mind frame altogether.
Yeah.
It's caused by depression, circumstance,
Yeah.
any kind of
I,
something which is not conducive.
yeah.
Uh, Tell me what happens to those people.
See, suicide is what we are talking about right
Yes.
here, right? So, generally, a soul has its journey. It has already decided it's how it's going to pass on. But say if we make certain choices to end our lives, like a suicide kind of a thing, the soul has not completed its journey yet, and we
Right.
have cut it short. All right. So those are the times when the souls can get lost. Those souls require more prayers, more help. Like that's the
Right.
only, how can we help our loved ones who passed away? The only thing that we can do is pray and bless their soul. All right. There's
Yeah.
nothing else that you can do. And that is a lot. And that's something small. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
huge. A blessing and a prayer is huge. So the only thing that we can do is, of course, that's a reason I think in every religion suicide is looked down upon,
Yeah.
because it affects your soul's journey. You cut it short, the soul somewhere gets lost because the end is not come. They may not have the support when they pass on, and they're just lost. They don't know what to do because they still had stuff to do on the earth, and now they are at the spirit level, and it's not the time for them to pass on yet. So they are the lost souls at that point of time. So probably what maximum is like, pray, bless the soul so that they get guidance and integrate it into the light, basically.
Thanks, Tanveer. I think this conversation is a profound reminder to live fully uh,
Yeah,
each moment that we have,
yeah,
right? Live it to the fullest and to accept the whole circle of life
yeah,
wholeheartedly. That
yes,
what comes beyond, we should keep our mind open,
yeah.
and we should be mentally prepared and be
Yeah.
happy for the beginning and the end, both.
Yes, and the reminder is that there's nothing to be scared of. All right, because
Right.
of course there's a lot of fear-based stuff which is being told to us, programmed into us by a lot of religions, right? About after that there's punishment. That we don't want to get into that discussion, but just you understand that after that what happens. It's an amazing feeling when you integrate into light. You are actually integrating into the unconditional love. That feeling is so amazing. The people who've had near-death experiences,
Yes.
all right,
Yeah.
they've come back fully healed. They've come out completely changed, and it's an amazing experience to just even transit. All right, and so the first of all, death is inevitable. All right, so let's accept it, whether it's ours or whether it
Or
is our loved
anybody
ones,
else's. Yeah.
right? So it
Right.
is inevitable. The moment we have that acceptance that it can happen anyone, anytime. No one is early and no one is late. All
Right.
right. So it's not like, okay, nine. It's each soul's journey. A soul's journey can be one day, it can be 1 year, it can be 50 years, it can be 100 years. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right. That is the soul's journey. The moment we come into acceptance of that and know that we'll also be here even after we die. All right. We are not going
Absolutely.
anywhere.
So today is always a present, right?
Is the
Today is
present.
always a present. Thank you so much, Tanveer, for such wonderful insights. It was a lovely conversation, a very deep one. And I think our personal experiences have given a lot of insights.
Yeah.
And I just hope people who are going through these difficult emotions have this conversation has lightened things up for them
Yeah.
and helped them feel better,
Yeah.
understand things better, take it more
Yeah.
lightly than
Yeah.
they are. If
Yeah.
at any point of time we could help, please feel free to reach out in the comments or the DMs. We'll be
Yes.
more than happy to have a conversation.
Yes.
If you need help in terms of getting over your experience of grief, please reach out to Tanveer for special meditation sessions to heal. And we will see you back in the next podcast in the coming week. Thanks, Tanveer.
Yes, and please feel, yes. Thank you so much, Abby. That was really amazing. And if you have any questions regarding death or what happens, or even if about your loved ones passed on, please feel free to DM and comment. And we are happy to share our experiences.
See you next time.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, see you.